100% off the strength, man.
Off the strength.
I did it all on the strength, all on the strength. Fuck talking, I'ma do this off the strength.
Run it back, can't relax, that's just facts off the strength.
It's off the strength. Can't get that off the strength.
That is absolutely
That's not the business of fitness.
It definitely is, man. Just like you want people to accept you for the way that you show up in your spaces, you gotta accept everybody else.
You ain't got no choice.
You gotta accept everybody else.
Nope.
First of all, you can't even come to Philly with that bullshit that you're talking right now.
What you talking about?
What's going on, fam? This is KR Jones of the Off the Strength podcast, and I am here to tell you to like, listen, subscribe, and if you're feeling freaky, visit offthestrength.com. That's where you can go and get more information on us. That's where we can link, we can build, we can connect, and let's make this thing work.
You ain't got no choice. You ain't doing fitness.
Get down and lay down.
Wallow in them hats. All of them eagle stomps on your back.
Get down and lay down. That's what Beanie Single said in the state property film.
Yeah, and that's what I'm telling you. You come down there with that type of energy, you gonna get settled real quick, bro.
I got some Philly connections.
Yeah, man, I know. Y'all cousins, man. I don't know why y'all all be hating each other. Y'all come from the same turnpike, yo.
We can.
Everybody in that area just
Interstate 95 went through all the black neighborhoods, fam.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
In New York City, I can tell you right now, driving around and just moving around, I can hear that spring is back in town and it's in time.
Oh, yeah.
It is time for people to be playing their music at an ignorant level, no matter what it is that they're doing.
Jadakiss for the old heads like myself.
See, now, I'm not here to be anybody's morality police, fam, but a lot of people need to develop better situational awareness with what they playing out loud, fam.
Okay.
I'm going back. I was riding through the neighborhood. Homies playing Biggie, Kane freestyle. I'm loving every second of this, right? You know, talking about the joint with him and Tupac. Got 7 Mac 11s.
Brooklyn has changed, though.
Brooklyn has changed drastically.
About 838s.
It's a whole class full of little kids.
9-9s.
The windows is rattling. He's getting back. And all my niggas in the pen. Here we go again. I was like, oh, man. I don't know. I feel kind of conflicted because these little kids' ears is never going to be the same after this.
They need to hear that sometime.
And then, on the other side of that, fam, he let the mixtape play out. He started to get into a little bit more of them Biggie freestyles, bro. I gotta be honest with you. Listening back on some of Biggie's lyrics with today's ears after his homeboy got jammed up.
How good she looked.
Nah, his stuff is looking real flagrant, bro.
Yeah,
it's a lot of... I was starting to rap, and then I caught myself. I was like, hold up. Biggie about to get me in a situation I don't need to be in.
Take that.
What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome back to yet another episode of Off the Strength, where we give you an inside look into all things wellness culture. I'm a trainer called Tony, and of course, with me, I have a gentleman of extraordinary league.
KR Jones is in the building.
That's right, folks. We are back. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you are now in store for a treat because it's the return of the variety show. That's when we give you our best foot forward. So hopefully you take your best foot forward, you do that two-step, that tango, whatever it is you need to do to make it on through the week with the best goddamn wellness information available.
Yay!
Now, Brother Jones.
What's the word?
How are you today, sir?
Man, today is a day, and the week has been a week.
I feel like you say that all the time, and
because
these are words that don't really mean a whole hell of a lot.
It all adds up.
Help me understand what you mean.
For the right people, it makes sense, but for me, I think I can sum up the week by saying I'm still amazed by the power of asking for what you need.
Okay, break that out.
Man, I had 3 R's happen this week. I got a retwist, I had a little recap with one of the homies, and I did a little reciprocity if you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Okay, all right. I feel you, man. I like all of this for you. Now, where'd that bring you throughout your emotional journey this week?
Tying it into the ask, I needed a retwist, and I reached out and asked for one, and I'll be damned if I ain't get what I needed.
That's what's
up. For the recap, I hadn't got up with my friends in a minute since I've been, on a new job and all these things. So I took that time to get the recap in. So we got a little, we sipped a little bit of the juice.
Okay.
If you will. And the reciprocity happened in my yoga playlist, man. That was the music. Giving back to the people just as much as they give to me. So that was like the bow on the week, so to speak.
I like that for you, my man. I guess on my side, my week has been about the deep dive, Kyle.
Okay, you've been diving deep?
I've been diving deep
Nose dive?
Well, hold on. Let's take it a little easy over there, champ. I've been diving deeper into understanding the field that I'm trying to get involved with, Brother Jones. See, although I have been dabbling in a few of these different areas, I keep a surface level of understanding, a surface level of information about, the things that just raise my interest. I haven't dove deep enough to really understand what is at the heart of the matter in a lot of spaces. And I wanted to unpack that today in this Ask the Professional.
Okay.
Now, Brother Jones, when you look to find out more about yourself or a topic that you're interested in, where do you turn today?
Today?
Yeah, because it's hard to understand where good information is. You know, I know in the era where you could look something up and it could generate a bunch of bullshit for you. Like, how do you validate?
AI come first, which is crazy.
How do you validate your information when you are out there looking for professional sources?
It depends on what I'm searching for in particular. But most times, I do have that internet source. I'm not going to lie. But I don't click that first link. I do a deep dive into fact check. Sometimes I might go and like ask somebody. Like if it's something specific, I'll ask somebody who I know does that at a high level, so to speak, too.
That's kind of where I was really finding myself diving more into. Because it's like, yo, fam, there are people who are the best single source for this information.
Like you do this.
Yeah. And making, cold outreach is something that you could still do, at least from my perspective, as somebody who talks on these microphones. You'd be surprised that people would answer you back with a very direct question.
Power of the ask. I just said this, brother.
There we go, man. So, asking, I guess, tying that back into where you were taking it from, things that help advance you in your own pursuit or things that help you get a deeper level of knowledge in there. I think if you come with a level of humility and you come with a level of like, hey, I'm really just genuinely trying to understand where to move forward next or where this can come from, like almost a softball into a mentorship kind of aspect. If people see you working and they see you making an effort, they're much more likely to help. So that was something that I kept coming back across this week, man. So I wanted to bring it into the show. When's the last time you reached out to somebody that was in your contemporary space for a little bit of info?
Man, that's a great question. I can't think of the last time I did it, but twice this week, 2 people reached out to me specifically for some yoga and some programming and things of that nature. And it was like, damn, both of them said that they loved the stuff that I've been putting out and the stuff that I represented. So it's like, man, it does come full circle. Sometimes it feels like when you doing the work that you love, you're just doing it in a vacuum and you never really know who's going to see it. But sometimes it land on the right folks, man.
Hey, man, sometimes the message just got to be received by the right people, Kyle. I like that.
At the right time.
At the right time. And I want to go into this next segment with that at mind, Kyle. Because it's time to get into a little bit of good.
Okay.
I want to get into a little bit of bad.
All right.
And I want to talk about some things that are questionable, damn near ugly this week, Kyle. It's time to get into this week's episode of Rip from the Headlines. And first things up for me, Kyle, I want to talk to you about the White Lotus effect.
Okay.
Now, are you familiar with the show?
Of course.
Okay. What comes to mind when I say White Lotus?
Man, it's a murder mystery, Scooby-Doo style, but like adults, and it's on HBO, so it's sex involved.
Very zesty.
Yeah, it's super zesty. They touch all bases. All bases get touched. Literally.
No stones unturned. Very Biggie lyric friendly.
100%.
Yo, so this...
I do love the resorts, though. Like, the spaces that they at, like, I'm vicariously living through that.
Well, Kyle, what if I told you that you were not the only person that felt that? Because this week in Business Insider, they talked about the White Lotus effect, and there is a significant increase in people going to visit those very resorts after watching different shows. So people at home are watching, seeing themselves wanting to get that level of relaxation, that level of unplug, minus some of the level of scandal.
I don't know.
Maybe with the level of scandal.
That part.
And they want to tie it all together. They want to reenact this. What's your thoughts about somebody seeing this whole wellness lifestyle play out on TV, one of the most popular shows, and now they're actually having business impact on these locations?
Contextually, it makes sense. I think about how that happens with Squid Games when they built that, or like when
I don't know if I was pulling up for a Squid Games resort.
There was people that pulled for the experience. I'm saying the Squid Game experience, or like the Seinfeld, and they sell all of these individually. But for the resort, the wellness resort, it's been something we've talked about and covered for a while. So it's been growing exponentially. So I love the idea of expanding somebody's wellness palette. I don't know if I got White Lotus paper, but if they want to sponsor them, I'm KR Jones of the Off the Strength podcast. You let me know where I need to be.
If you wanted to be at a White Lotus-like resort, what kind of class would you be teaching over there?
Man, we teaching elevated yoga. We still getting high and doing yoga, just in another country.
All right, man. I just wanted to check. I wanted to make sure you was ready for it, man. If you stay ready, you don't ever have to get ready, Kyle.
That part.
Now, in the next phase, somebody out there who is known for staying ready. Wardell, Stephen Curry, the best shooter of all time. What if I told you that he was coming into the beverage game himself, and he's teaming up with Michelle Obama, of all people?
See, I don't really like the cut of his jib or her jib with that. Like, that's crazy. Like,
So-
they both coming in?
Please. It's going to be his drink that he's putting out with Michelle Obama.
Please?
Right? Yes, it's called Please. Now, this is supposed to be a alternative to the Prime drinks, right? And they're made with all natural ingredients. So they're coming out aiming for that younger demographic, something that is going to be a little bit more on the healthy side. What do you think about Steph Curry bringing out his own bev, man?
On paper, it sounds great. The combo with Michelle Obama sounds like a marketing ploy to really attack the black community.
Steph is already in the black community. Why does he need more people to attack it?
You know, I'm going to just leave it at that. You know, what kind of beverage is this supposed to be? Like
It's like a Gatorade adjacent type thing.
So
but
energy drink.
It lives in that prime
we
Gatorade.
need less energy drinks and more activity.
No, it's a recovery beverage.
All right, man.
But it's supposed to be a little bit more on the healthy side. All natural ingredients, no dyes, nothing that, we talked about before, those forever chemicals that were in something like a Prime. Even
Yeah.
if you look at the logo, everything is kind of in that same, like, they're targeting clearly the same kind of demographic and thought.
Give it 6 months till I see it on the street corner.
Why are you mad?
Like trash.
You a hater, fam. I think you need to elevate where you...
I didn't know if that fell in the good or the bad category, so I'm just
was
judging
out
it
there.
accordingly.
I
you know?
thought them coming together to put something good out there was still good for me.
It's becoming of Michelle Obama and Steph Curry.
Well, let's talk about another unlikely partnering, man. So before, we have covered Lil Jon for his shift into the mindfulness movement. Yeah, right? So he had the positive affirmations. He even also put out a book about mantras and things of that nature. Now, did you see that last week Lil Jon partnered with Peloton to host his own class?
Nope.
Him and none other than Alex Toussaint had a class where Lil Jon was live leading people through his whole discography, man. They was doing the run, then they got into the burn. They started lifting, everything else. I've been saying that this was going to be something that keeps coming back. Now you're starting to see it transition from just inside the actual gyms to here's it on streaming.
Shout out to Alex. He
Alex
good.
is still keeping it going,
He
man.
good folks over here at Off the Strength Podcast. Now, we have been talking about this merger of hip hop and wellness.
Yes.
I do love that it's happening. We spoke about it. One could say we manifested such a thing.
Come on now.
The issue that I have is our hip hop legends, our hip hop icons, majority of the time don't be having that legwork. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really don't be at the physical prowess that we would like their careers to be at. So I love this contextually, Lil Jon, running this Peloton class. In reality, I need to see the numbers.
Well, he actually did have a modified class. So his class was him walking on a gradient because, Kyle, wellness is not something about you just doing the highest level of this form. You don't have to actually run. Everybody has their own ability, and they have an inclusive way of approaching this, Kyle. So don't you shame Lil Jon out of this.
No shame.
He's
no
in
shame.
the game, bro.
Just saying. I love that for us. I love that for hip hop. I would love to see more of hip hop being healthy.
What's some of the Lil Jon songs that you would like to hear go off? In a class? Where you
There's
at
a
with it?
whole crunk era. All of that from the Get On My Level, the Lil Scrappy, the Trillbills, the Salt Shaker with the Yang Yang Twins.
Yeah.
They did a lot, man.
What about an abs class? What Lil Jon song is going off?
If we going the Ursher. We going to do a little bit of everything, man.
Take that.
We gotta slow it down. Maybe
Gotta make
Lovers and Friends.
I feel you.
That was the best Lil Jon verse. He killed that song. His verse might have been better than Ludacris's on
All
the
right,
low.
now you sounding a little crazy.
All right,
we're
man.
gonna move on from this one.
You told me to support our heroes, and then I don't support. Here we go.
I don't know if he was better than that, man. But you know what? I'm gonna keep it moving. Next up, Kyle. When's the last time you've been out to LA, man?
It's been some years since they seen me.
Yeah, man. You might need to touch back down in LA, Kyle. And when you land in LAX, Kyle, if you were happening to be flying by Virgin Atlantic, they got a new thing in their clubhouse. Forme has released a LAX lounge. Now, this is Forme Studio. This is going to be one of the on-the-wall mounted smart machines, kind of like a tonal or like a mirror back in the day. This one is going to be a kind of a combination between those. So you could do a little bit of strength training, a little bit of Pilates-like exercises. They have built out a studio at LAX for you to actually get your workout in there. What's your thoughts on being able to stay healthy while on the go?
I love this. I love that it's available for people to utilize in spaces like the airport when traditionally traveling is one of those things that it's just not good to sit down for that long, depending on how long your flight is. Now, the reality of this is, are there showers after this? Like, if I'm working up a sweat and doing what I got to do, Does that mean my next destination is going to be a little sweaty?
It does not say that the Zen Den comes with a shower, Kyle, so I cannot tell you that.
So the Zen Den going to be extra spicy.
You might be a little, they might have a nice little refresh wipe somewhere in there for you.
I'm no stranger to a little bar, refresh bar.
Yeah, something like
a little
that.
Dry shampoo.
Something in that direction, they just quick little under the pit, keep it moving.
Yeah, a little bird bath.
But seriously, if you're taking a long enough flight, you get off the plane and you start to move your body, that has to make you feel drastically different.
100%.
Yeah, and it also probably help you with the sleep on the other side of that, man. So I just had to shout them out for doing that. Kyle, I want to make sure that we anchor everything, man. I want to give you the highs and the lows, both ends of the spectrum, things that are accessible and things that are aspirational, Kyle.
Like
so this
please beverage from Michelle and Steph Curry.
This last segment is going to bookmark these two things, man. All right, so we talked about Papa Tui before, and this is Dwayne The Rock Johnson's
Bald-headed
brand.
lies is what we talked about.
His shampoo line, his hair care products inside of Target. Well, Kyle, apparently we were wrong about all of that stuff because his hair care line is actually doing exceptionally well, and they're moving into more wellness categories. That's right.
Not at Target.
Yes, they are. They're saying in 2025 they're looking to expand because of the demand into more health and wellness products as they grow across the country. So he ain't telling bald-headed lies. He's making some strides, man. Now, that's on one end of the spectrum. Kyle,
Okay.
I also saw in Hypebeast this week that Celine has put out a Pilates kit that has come with everything from Celine branded dumbbells, kettlebells, mats, leather goods. I'm talking about high-end fashion has now just bespoke made a whole kit.
The Celine clientele is the type to have the leather ball gag in their mouth. Just in the crib cooling, like just to let you know where they at. Like I'm here for the elevated luxurious experience. When it comes to making leather kettlebells and all types of weights, like you're doing too much because you're going to do all that and you're not even going to use it.
Yeah, the people that are actively using these are not going to look like the people that you would think should be using these. That's pretty much what it comes down to for me.
It's not giving the flex that you really think it does.
But it might be a crazy flex if you came in with the Celine dumbbell just strapped across you inside the gym. It's a 5-pound dumbbell. You just got it as a chain. That could be kind of hard.
That's weird. It's weird behavior.
What about the Celine jump rope? You can't just have that slung across the shoulder, just killing them with it?
It's gonna get stole. Legit. That's it. Like if I see somebody with a Celine jump rope, I'm taking it off rip.
All right, man. That's gonna be it from my side of Rip from the Headlines. What did you see out there in these fitness streets?
Man, you took us on the doozy there.
Hey, man, I was just reporting it how I saw it, Kyle.
My report's gonna be. I'm gonna keep it black. I'm gonna keep it brief. First and foremost, are you aware of the morning routines that have taken a storm over the internet?
Yeah, I feel like everybody has fallen victim to the same psyop. I seen homie take over.
Would you say morning routines are here to stay after the brother Ashton Hall was out here showing folks how he gets down?
No, and I've seen enough people give their takes on what this actually has been that have been hysterical. What I think is even funnier is we got to talk about the type of trainer that this is right here.
Open the door.
The type of trainer that starts their day off like this.
Let's take a walk.
Let's walk through. First of all, not every trainer is built the same. Not every trainer is operating the same.
That's number one.
Not every trainer is moving for the same reasons.
And by trainer, we mean personal trainer in a luxury establishment, if you will.
Yeah, I know this type of trainer that's moving like this.
What else they doing? Let's just lay it out there, brother.
I feel like you have a very strong opinion, Kyle. I think you should let me know what's going on that side.
I'm just trying to paint the picture for the people to understand. Like we really are of that ilk of wellness professionals. And when you see people like this that by social standards present day, he's very successful. Fam got over 9 million followers. He's taking you through a morning routine that starts at 3 a.m. and is going precisely step by step, into what his wellness lifestyle looks like. Now, the trainers that we know that might have a schedule like this, I ain't hanging with you, bro. We not dapping, we ain't kicking it, we ain't fam, we ain't kin. I see you. I might say what up, I might not.
The guys that was in shape because they played a sport.
Yep.
Those are some of the trainers. And
former athletes,
right? There's the guys who were just in shape They was just always going to be around.
You was just naturally gifted, bro.
Yeah, they was just there. That was how they was going to look. Then there's the guys that got in shape specifically just to talk to women.
Yep.
They never had any success in any other kind of realm with them.
Nope.
And they moved a very particular way.
Yep.
I'm just leave it at that.
There's also a subcategory of like the dudes that went to jail and did the bid and got big and then came out and found the instructional path to now training other people, and then you get stuff like a con body or something like that. You get what I'm saying? Like it.
Shout out to all those guys.
Straight up. Never no disrespect. But that third category you mentioned, I'm going to just leave that alone, let y'all figure that out when we see it. But when it comes to the morning routine, I hope it's here to stay.
Shout out to Eden. I seen him do the Flyers version of that.
Word? Fam, it's taking the storm. Captain Crunch has done it, as well as the Duolingo Owl has also done a morning routine out here. Now, when you get into companies that
jumping on the trend, man,
make a trend like this continue to grow and have legs, I feel like you really crossed over into a new territory.
That's why I said the PSYOP has worked. Somebody paid for this to go viral like this. It has connected.
Now, speaking of the PSYOP and, the plans falling, if you will, my question to you is, where do you draw the line on artistically made weights for the gym? You just talked about the Celine and the leather. Like, where do you draw the line on, like, all right, this is kind of cool. I know you've had the Gorilla kettlebell back in the day.
First of all, I didn't have that. That was not a purchase that Tony made. Let the record reflect.
Was it not in an establishment that you were an owner in?
I was a minority owner. Strong emphasis on the word minority. My voice was not listened to.
Brother had Gorilla kettlebells in there, man. With the face on that and everything.
I ain't order that.
Where do you draw the line on artistically made weights for the gym?
I mean, I think if they're for a piece of art, that's fine, man. I don't think that they serve a lot of purpose. I don't think that they're going to get used the way that most people think that they're going to get used. And, if people go come out and rock out with them, go ahead, go for it.
Now, tell the people what you're looking at right here. What did I just
Kyle is trying to show me some drumsticks that look like Indian clubs. I don't even know if we could still call those Indian clubs. I feel like that's the setup, but that's what they are. I feel like in today's world, they probably got another name.
We got to unpack all of this because first and foremost, Indian club is actually a great tool to have.
The name is.
It probably is.
It's
problematic.
Probably not the word that you should use.
It's probably not the
but
word.
It's an Indian club.
Native club, maybe.
I don't know what to call them. I feel like
it's a modality you could use in the gym for your shoulder mobility. You can do a lot of different things with them. Nonetheless, this in particular is a drumstick, and not like an instrument drumstick. I'm talking about like a wing drumstick that is in the gym that people are using for a workout.
The only thing I'm happy about is the fact that the people who were using those in the workout look the way that they look. Because if it was anything else, this would be a crime.
These are free weight chicken wings.
Yeah.
If you will, or drumsticks. I'm not going to say wings because it ain't a wing. These are free weight drumsticks as weights in the gym. It looks like a KFC ploy, and I don't know how I feel about it because I stumbled across something that was super ugly, Tone. Now, the super ugly was this question I have of, is KFC serving people?
Nah, I don't know where you're going with this one.
Now, I don't mean, customers on the regular. I showed you a preview of this commercial earlier. This commercial is weird, it's disturbing, and it advertises a young man in some type of cult that is dipped in gravy and comes out a piece of chicken.
Yeah, it looks like a fever dream that could have also been tied into a Kanye West release at some point that was just passed through an algorithm made up all the buzzwords that were happening right now.
The We Believe in Chicken and Red was a bit crazy.
I think that's the type of outrage and viral marketing, much like the dumping your face in the Saratoga water, is trying to accomplish the same thing. This is just a miss in that direction.
So this is outrage marketing at its finest, because when I'm getting all of this chicken content, right, I'm getting the dumbbells in the gym.
Yo, your algorithm is set to super nigga.
Right? Like, I ain't seen a grilled chicken yet, bro. Everything is fried. It's like, what's going on? I eat vegetables. Like, I like Brussels sprouts. You get what I'm saying? I eat asparagus and complex carbs and all these other things. My algorithm has just been literally set to they clone Tyrone, and I don't know what to do about that, brother.
I think you need to start following some different people. I think you might need to add.
I'm gonna start with Ashton Hall.
There we go.
get my routine up to date.
You gotta start following Ashton. Then once you go down the Ashton tree, you gotta go down some of the people that I know he's following. You know, there's gonna be a very specific population that he's gonna cater to. You know, you might need to go and see what's going on the other side of the athleisure game. You might need to go to, you know, like an Aloe yoga page. Follow a couple people, you know. You might need to
just reset my whole timeline.
Go ahead, jump back into the Sweet Green page. You know, he'll follow on that. Kava.
You know, I don't like they marketing either.
Yeah, that's just all of it. But that's what's going to that's what's going to gentrify your algorithm.
That wasn't what you was about to say. He's about to say something else.
You got to gentrify your algorithm, bro.
I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm going to just end on that note and slide into this Raising the Bar segment. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you're now in store to raise your bar. Now, Brother Tone.
Yes, sir.
Man, this week on Raising the Bar, I feel like lately I've just been really talking about the stuff that I've been moved by. So why would that change? Obviously, the shit that came across my timeline this week was an interview with LeBron and Pat McAfee.
Yeah, I definitely saw that.
Now, I'm not really a Pat McAfee fan, so to speak, but they do put out a lot of content, and they are a bit of the, you know, beaten path of journalism as opposed to the traditional ESPN daytime talk shows they have.
Yep.
So they got a chance to interview LeBron, and they were talking about LeBron's career spanning over 22 years and comparing it to a child star, right? Of like, it's hard for a lot of child stars to transition into adulthood and still be successful without getting caught up in life and drugs and insert whatever.
Yeah.
LeBron speaks about being a winner and growing up in a winning environment. He then discussed how that experience molded him into success. Mm-hmm. When he mentioned that, he was talking about, you know, winning in high school. Obviously, he didn't go to college, but keeping that I won this high school is possible mentality. I can do this at the next level. And of course, the next level being the NBA. For me, I was thinking about one, exposure, right? When you're exposed to a winning environment, it's contagious, right? It makes you want to step your game up. It makes you want to be the next man up if somebody falls, right? It makes you just kind of elevate. And the first experience I thought about when I saw that with my own two was working at Equinox back in the day. When I first got there, we only had one club in Brooklyn, and that club in Brooklyn was doing numbers. Every trainer was hitting the bonus. Everybody was eating. It was full of just a winning environment to the point where we got so good, they started moving people out of our club.
Yeah.
And that was the downfall, right? That was when it was like, oh, we not winning no more. The big fish is moving. The clients is moving. Life is happening. And then you get to see that ebb and flow of what can happen in life. So my question to you would be, can you recall a time when you were in a winning environment, and can you paint a picture of what that was like?
Yeah, but honestly, it would be coming from my biggest wins coming inside the gym as well. It wouldn't be too dissimilar from what you said in that notion, because that was a period in time where it's just the acceleration coming out of health and wellness at that time was at a whole completely different level. It was front line of innovation, front line of what would set me up for the next damn near 10, 15 years in my life. So that, yeah, I would say is clearly like the biggest like time around a system that was designed and thought about. We are definitively making this type of progress, and this is how you can fit in to help that progress move forward. I can look back at it fondly today and understand that I gained my best lessons from that space and time. Outside of that, I would say, honestly, getting back on 2 feet is the next biggest winning kind of time for me. in that standpoint. Because it's like, yo, you got to appreciate those little micro steps that it takes to get you back through your whole recovery process. It's like, I can't regard every day going through rehab as something that's not akin to being in a winning environment every single day. It's like, yo, you move up. Oh, I could use that leg press for 5 pounds. Last week, I couldn't even do 2 pounds. Now it's like, okay, 10 pounds. Okay, I'm going to be back and walking in a little bit. Like, those things today have been some of the like largest, like, wow, yeah, I came through at a time in the city that is never going to come back. This is pre-internet. The world is a lot smaller, or at least New York was a lot smaller, and you had to be of a certain ilk to move around the way that I was moving around then. And then also, like, yo, fam, I've seen people who had the same list of things that was wrong, still not able to walk. So those two things is high on the list.
When I think about the winning environment, I can't also help but think about, well, then what's the opposite, right? Like a losing environment. And I've been in that before, right?
Okay.
And I feel like the losing environment, ironically, was in the same space as I just alluded to. Once everybody left and the major players started to leave. Eventually, I became a big fish in a small pond around a bunch of guppies.
Okay.
Right? And it was a losing environment because I was in a space where I was arguably the most qualified person to be there, but the most underperforming at the same time. And that underperformance was a result of, like I mentioned, life happening, right? Like, when you're living in a space like New York City and you're dealing with high-end clientele, marriages happen, kids happen, moves out of the country happen. Like, all of these are not foreign. And to have to deal with that is a matter of, like, damn, like, I always got to keep my foot on the gas. Like, I always got to go out here and keep chasing down new clients, you know?
Yeah, I think it kind of looks like you see the same thing happen on professional sports teams. Like, you got your certain people, not everybody on a great team is going to ever have the same thing that they contribute to the team. But when it's working and it's humming and it's moving into like the flow of the machine, you don't realize that your energy person has been grinding out harder than a lot of other people. They might not be the big star shine spotlight person, but they are necessary to keep everybody else's energy up. When you lose that person, somebody else is going to need to pick that up. Hopefully they have the same mindset. Hopefully they have the same work ethic. If they don't, yeah, that's going to put more weight on you at a time that you might not necessarily want that weight, right? So I've seen that play out as well, where it's kind of like there is an underappreciation of why the chemistry of a team works. And I think it's like more difficult when you have a team of talented people. This is like everybody that's talented kind of feels like, yo, I could go out and get it myself. I could do this. I could do that. It was like, yes. And the synergy that comes from working together is so often undervalued when people are at the highest level of their talent. It's like, yo, you foreseeably could go out there and do this all yourself. And you wasn't never doing this all by yourself. It's like they're clearly the same thing. You never laced up.
Nobody's done it alone.
It wasn't 1-on-5. It's
No.
like, stop lying.
That's not how it works.
You had to inbound the ball at some point in time.
No, I get that 100%, man. I guess just to close out, I'm still thinking about the environment piece of it, where the exposure is so necessary. And I feel like not everyone ever gets that chance to be exposed to winning culture, to be exposed to a winning environment. What advice could you give somebody that is in that losing environment and never experienced such?
You got to change the people that surround you. And that's the most difficult thing to appreciate. It's not saying that you have to disassociate from everybody that you feel is, quote unquote, not lifting you into the space that you want to be in, but you for sure have to take that self-assessment and be self-aware. It's kind of like, if you are feeling that detrimental by the people that you're surrounded by, why would you stay there? It's like, that's on you at a certain point in time. So, okay, take that assessment, look around, see where you want to be. How do you do some of the things like we talked about at the top of the show? How do you make the outreach in a genuine way and ask somebody if you could be in their different environment? How do you show up serving? How do you show up looking to learn? How do you show up with a level of humility that would allow you to get access to whatever that next room is. That's the first and most critical piece. You need access in order to excel and go into any direction that you want to go into.
Man, I couldn't agree more. That's a gem for the folks out there. And I'm going to go ahead and slide into our Relax Responsibly segment that is brought to you by me. It's KR Jones. I'm telling you to come kick it with me at Frequency Movement. Wednesdays for Roll Up and Roll Out, and Saturdays for Elevated Yoga, where we can elevate your mobility.
Okay, Kyle, tell me and the good people out there how you were relaxing this week.
Man, the irony in this is I had my Roll Up and Roll Out class on Wednesday that I just obviously plugged for the people that are listening. Nobody signed up. Roster said 0.
Okay.
Goose egg, zilch, nobody. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. But let me still go because, one, I need this myself. So I'm still going to go because I still need to stretch and do what I need to do. So I pull up. Everybody from the class before was, saying their goodbyes. And I'm just in there chilling by myself, about to light up. Somebody shows up. And I'm like, damn. I thought about canceling the class and just closing the door. And then I realized, I'm providing a space for people. I'm providing an outlet. And regardless of if I'm promoting it or not, because I'm here, there's people that still need this. So I was relaxed in knowing that even though nobody signed up, somebody still showed up. And that was enough for me to be like, all right, I need to promote this better.
Okay, that's what's up, man. Now, what's that action going to look like? Because I've heard you talk about this promotion.
Man!
Taking different stances a couple weeks in a row, man.
So shout out to Autumn. Autumn pulled up one of the younger homies, and she was like, man, you need to get some flyers and blah, blah, blah. And flyers go a long way. And I'm like, you're right. You the type to be outside and on the street team, so I'm going to give you some flyers.
Nice. You got the Kyle Jones street team coming across?
Have you go out there and you get a little, points on the package for the amount of folks that come up. But really just reigniting my passion for it. I think that's all it took was for somebody to show up when nobody signed up. And I was like, damn, I really need to do a better job of extending this space to people, but then also getting it in front of people where it can be tangible instead of the day of.
Yeah, you got to remind them, fam. You can't take for granted that, everybody's got a bunch of shit going on.
Always.
And if you feel overwhelmed,
and you need to prioritize relaxing, right? You need to prioritize setting yourself up for success, and that's what this class does. And it's not even me selfishly offering that. It's like, nah, fam, this is for you, but I need to package that so that you can understand it.
Yeah, get it to them when they need it. Meet the people where they are, Kyle.
That part, brother. How's you relaxing this week?
Man, I did not get a chance to relax this week,
not
bro.
Even
I ain't even going to lie to you.
You ain't hit no lie? You ain't do a little...
I ain't going to lie to you, fam.
You ain't have a good meal in you, know?
None of that was on my menu. So I'm going to make up for it tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm going to try to get a ride out to Coney Island. That's going to be my relaxation for the week. I got the bike crew that's supposed to be getting up. But yeah, every day leading up to this day has not been a relaxing situation. So I don't want to lie to the good people, but I do look forward to hitting that beach side if it doesn't rain in New York City, because that beach front is always a place where I could just let the tide take away some of those stresses for the week, man. I always love doing that. So that's what I look forward to do. Now, Kyle.
What's the word?
Once we got past that relaxation, man, I do want to take it to a different direction. I want to get into some of this mind over matter real quick, Kyle, because I had, in my week of not so much relaxation, I had a chance to go back, and while I was diving deep, I'm trying to find different quotes that was motivational inside there, bro.
Okay.
So I came across Maya Angelou. Now, Maya Angelou is one of my mother's favorite poets.
Still I rise.
Yeah, for sure. So I was just going through some poems, and some of these that landed on me that was a little bit more impactful was something that I wanted to share. It comes about by that whole what you make people feel like, right? So I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
That part.
My hope coming out of that is that I always make people feel better by anything that I suggest, anything that I recommend, anything that I was really trying to share in all of these things that we do for this thing we call wellness, bro. That's the epicenter of why I do everything in life, and I really do want to continue to try to push that forward in the best possible way. And I had a chance to get reminded of that by one Maya Angelou this week, my man.
Oh, you was in the poetry bag. You was down bad, huh?
It was a long week, bro.
Man, when a brother moved to the poetry, that's when you know.
Roller coaster.
You in it, you know. Shout out to Eric Mosley. He had the Maya Angelou quote on the pod when we had him. Remember, it was like, be a rainbow in somebody's cloud.
That's what's up. I appreciate him saying that, man. Yo, shout out to Eric, man. Be a rainbow in somebody's crowd. All right.
Somebody gonna pick up on that one day. But nah, man, I appreciate Maya Angelou's insight a lot of the times, just because her messages seem to be so simple but very complex. And when they hit, man, they hit. So on that note, I think that I am hopeful for folks finding their winning environment so that you can get them wins in, find your spot, better yet, and score consistently. Back to back.
I like the sound of that, man. And if people wanted to come together and watch the winning team score on a consistent basis, Saturdays, Fridays, it doesn't matter. We're going to change up the arena, change up the venue. We're still putting up the numbers on the board.
Yeah.
Kyle, where do people need to turn to get this information?
Man, you can visit us on Instagram at offthestrength_, or if you're feeling freaky, you can visit offthestrength.com. That's where you can get up with us. We can link, we can build, we can make this thing work. If you're in the greatest city in the world, sometimes, as New York City, come on down to Rockefeller Center where you can see us record live at Newsstand Studios. If you can't make it in, you could always visit Instagram at Rockefeller Center or X at Rock Center NYC.
Once again, it's been another fantastic episode of Off the Strength. I'm trainer called Tony.
KR Jones.
Peace and much love to y'all out there. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Peace! What's good, everybody? I'm a trainer called Tony, and I am here from the infamous Off the Strength podcast, asking you today, listeners, viewers, wherever you may be, to please like, listen, and subscribe to our podcast. This is how we're going to continue to be able to deliver you the best goddamn wellness information out here. So if you want to keep hearing this and you want us to keep growing, you are a part of this show just as much as anything else. So please go to offthestrength.com. Make sure you check out our blogs. Make sure you check us out on IG. And if you're hearing this voice and you didn't hit that subscribe button, know that Kyle is going to come looking for you.
You got that right.